Nice crossover, Heidemann. Push shot in the lane, count it, and put her on the line.
The Indiana Fever may be clawing their way into the playoff picture with a mix of grit, rising chemistry, and flashes of brilliance on the hardwood, but off the court and in the huddle, a storm is brewing, one that has nothing to do with the scoreboard and everything to do with head coach Stephanie White's increasingly scrutinized bench rotations, a conversation that exploded after the Fever's latest battle in Los Angeles against the Sparks, in a game where every possession mattered, and the absence of Caitlin Clark already had fans craving more offensive firepower from unexpected sources. One name kept echoing through the digital corridors of X, formerly Twitter, long after the final buzzer: Chloe Bibby. Bibby, a mid-season addition whose sharpshooting, floor spacing, and relentless energy have been quietly earning her a loyal following. Played just 3 minutes in the entire game. Yes, 3 and for a fan base that has been watching her drill threes at one of the highest accuracy rates on the roster. This was not just a surprise. It was a gut punch. From the moment the box score hit the web, outrage poured in like a tidal wave. Chloe Bibby is one of the most accurate shooters for threes, and she played 3 damn minutes tonight. Why not give her more minutes? One fan wrote, summing up the collective frustration of Fever Nation. Others piled on with gifs of head-scratching reactions, sarcastic memes about hiding your best shooter, and long threads dissecting every possession she wasn't in the game, trying to prove stat by stat that her presence could have swung the outcome. And yet, as is too often the case in heated sports debates, a small but toxic fraction of the discourse strayed far beyond basketball, with a now-deleted tweet suggesting that Bibby's lack of minutes was due to jealousy from teammates, even dragging race into the mix, an unfounded and inflammatory claim that was immediately condemned by both reasonable fans and WNBA commentators, who urged the conversation to remain rooted in merit, performance, and strategy rather than baseless, divisive accusations. Still, the basketball argument itself was compelling. Bibby's combination of deadly perimeter shooting, hustle plays, and willingness to sacrifice for the team makes her exactly the type of role player most coaches dream about having ready, off the bench, especially in games where spacing is at a premium. Watching the Fever's second unit struggle to keep pace in key stretches while Bibby sat must have been maddening for fans who believed she could unlock driving lanes for scorers like Kelsey, Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. Even more confusing, fellow bench player KK Deans logged for minutes a marginal increase over Bibby's time despite not having the same proven outside shooting numbers. While Ari McDonald, to her credit, had a breakout night with 15 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds, proving why she deserved every second she played. Then there was Kelsey Mitchell, the unquestioned leader in Caitlin Clark's absence, erupting for 34 points and putting the Fever on her back. A performance that might have been even more potent had the floor been spaced by Bibby's gravity from deep. The more you break it down, the more the rotation feels like a puzzle, missing a key piece, and that missing piece is wearing number 55 on the bench. This isn't the first time White's substitution patterns have sparked fan unrest. Earlier in the season, questions swirled around the underuse of certain players who seemed primed to contribute but never got consistent minutes, feeding a larger narrative about whether the Fever are developing their talent to its fullest potential. The Bibby situation has now become the poster child for this. Frustration, a tangible example fans can point to when discussing what they see as mismatched priorities between long-term growth and short-term tactics. Add in the high stakes of the Fever's playoff chase, the pressure cooker of national media attention around Caitlin Clark, and the emotional investment of a fan base that has endured years of rebuilding, and you have the perfect recipe for a controversy that just won't die quietly. In the days since the Sparks game, sports talk podcasts, YouTube breakdown channels, and WNBA blogs have all weighed in. Some defending White's right to trust her gut and lean on matchups, others insisting that in a league this competitive, you simply cannot afford to bench one of your best shooters when offense stalls. Bibby herself has kept quiet publicly, focusing on practice, smiling during team huddles, and posting lighthearted Instagram stories, which only adds to her growing reputation as a team-first player who isn't letting outside noise affect her demeanor. But fans see her readiness, her positivity, her ability to energize both the bench and the floor, and they can't shake the feeling that a weapon is being wasted. Meanwhile, opposing teams are surely noticing too, knowing that if Bibby is ever unleashed for heavy minutes, she could become the X-factor that flips a game script. With each passing contest, the question grows louder. Will Stephanie White adjust and give Bibby a bigger role? Or will this be another chapter in the ongoing saga of puzzling rotations that may haunt the Fever if the playoff push falls short? One thing's for certain, this debate has lit a fire under Fever Nation. And whether you agree with the coach or the critics, you can't deny that every game from here on out will be watched with eagle eyes on the bench as much as the court, waiting to see if number 55 finally gets the green light she's earned.
Jones up ahead. Working on Hall to the hole. Got it! That's what she brings to the...
Adding another layer of drama to an already heated Indiana Fever season, WNBA legend and two-time MVP Candace Parker stepped into the spotlight on a recent podcast to address a narrative that has been bubbling on social media for weeks that, somehow, the Fever are playing better without rookie sensation Caitlin Clark on the floor. For many Fever fans, this take has been infuriating, and Parker wasted no time dismantling it with her signature mix of authority and insight. Leaning forward in her chair and speaking with conviction, she said, "They're not better without Caitlin. She's watching and learning. When she comes back, it's going to be scary for opponents." Her words cut through the noise, Clark's absence not as an advantage, but as a strategic pause in her rookie development. Parker went on to explain that Clark's time on the bench is allowing her to absorb the pro game from a different angle, seeing defensive schemes unfold, understanding how her teammates react under pressure, and noting where her presence can open up opportunities. In Parker's view, these observations will only make her more dangerous when she returns. "This is a learning period," Parker emphasized. "When she's back, it's not just going to be Caitlin Clark, the scorerite's going to be Caitlin Clark, the complete professional player. The one who knows when to attack, when to pass, and how to make her team better." But the episode didn't just revolve around Clark. The conversation took a turn toward another storyline generating headlines in the WNBA community: Dana Bonner's reception from fans after her high-profile switch to a rival team. Aaliyah Boston, the Fever's all-star forward and the emotional anchor of the team, joined the discussion and gave a measured, player-focused response. Boston acknowledged that hearing boos is never easy, but pointed out that it comes with the territory for players who've made an impact. Candace Parker backed this up with a sharper edge, calling the booing a privilege and explaining that in sports, you don't get booed unless you're significant enough to matter to the fans, unless you've left a mark. Nobody boos someone who's irrelevant, Parker said, a comment that lit up debate threads online, with some agreeing it's a backhanded compliment and others arguing that sports fandom should be more gracious. While those debates raged, another controversy within the Fever camp refused to die down, one that's been simmering under the surface all season but reached boiling point after the Fever's most recent matchups: Stephanie White's bench rotations and, more specifically, her baffling handling of Chloe Bibby. Bibby, one of the team's most promising mid-season additions, has not only been an efficient scorer from beyond the arc, statistically ranking among the team's most accurate three-shooters, but has also shown the kind of hustle, energy, and team-first mentality that often swings momentum in tight games. Yet against the Los Angeles Sparks, with Clark still out and the Fever in desperate need of floor spacing, Bibby logged just 3 minutes of game time. For a fan base that has watched the Fever lose winnable games due to stagnant offense and cramped spacing, this decision was like waving a red flag in front of a bull. The outrage on X, formerly Twitter, was immediate and relentless. Chloe Bibby is one of the most accurate shooters for threes, and she played 3 damn minutes. Tonight, why not give her more minutes? One user posted, racking up thousands of likes. Others replied with game clips showing Bibby's quick-release threes and defensive hustle, arguing that she could have been the difference maker. A few dove deep into advanced stats, showing the Fever's offensive efficiency jump when Bibby is on the floor, especially alongside Kelsey Mitchell. But as always happens when emotions run high, a small but ugly corner of the conversation crossed the line, with one now-deleted tweet baselessly suggesting that jealousy from teammates or even race played a role in her limited minutes. This toxic angle was swiftly condemned by the majority of the fan base and by WNBA analysts, who stressed that criticism should stay rooted in basketball performance and coaching decisions, not in unfounded and divisive accusations. Still, the core question wouldn't go away. Why keep one of your best shooters chained to the bench during a playoff push? Even more perplexing, fellow bench guard KK Deans played for minutes only marginally more than Bibby, while Ari McDonald thrived in her role, putting up an impressive stat line of 15 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell, carrying the offensive load in Clark's absence, exploded for 34 points in an inspiring display of leadership. But even she could have benefited from the additional spacing Bibby provides. The decision fed into a season-long narrative questioning Stephanie White's rotation patterns. Earlier in the year, similar frustration surfaced over other underused players who appeared to have earned more time but never saw consistent minutes, leading fans to wonder whether White's approach was limiting the team's growth. Sports, talk shows, and basketball YouTube channels seized on the controversy, analyzing game film to see if there was a tactical reason for keeping Bibby sidelined. Some defended White's decisions, arguing that certain matchups required quicker perimeter defenders or more ball handlers. Others insisted that the benefits of Bibby's shooting outweighed any defensive trade-offs, especially in a league where the three-point shot can flip a game's momentum in seconds. Former players chimed in as well, with some pointing out that giving a role player extended minutes can sometimes backfire if they're not used to heavy defensive attention, while others countered that the only way to truly gauge a player's readiness is to give them the minutes to prove it. Bibby herself has remained the picture of professionalism through it all. No cryptic posts, no public frustration. On Instagram, she's shared practice clips, smiling team photos, and positive messages to fans. In huddles, cameras have caught her leaning in, engaged, and ready to play. Her quiet resilience has only endeared her more to Fever supporters, who see her as a hardworking underdog being overlooked at a critical moment. The more she stays silent, the more the conversation around her grows, turning her into a symbol of what some fans feel is being left on the table by the coaching staff. As the Fever fight for playoff positioning, this tension is becoming impossible to ignore. Every game is now being watched, not just for the on-court action, but for the patterns in White's substitutions. Will Bibby get meaningful minutes? Will Clark return to a roster that's fully optimized around her strengths? Will Boston continue to be the steady two-way force that keeps the Fever competitive? And perhaps most importantly, will the team's internal decisions match the urgency of their playoff hunt? Candace Parker's confident defense of Clark might have settled one debate, but it also shined a spotlight on the broader issue of how this roster is being managed. Fans know that when Clark returns, the Fever's offensive identity will shift again, but they're equally aware that championships aren't built on just 5 starters, they're built on depth, chemistry, and the ability to trust your bench in big moments. Right now, that trust appears shaky, at least in the eyes of the public. The Fever's journey from here will be shaped as much